Welcome to my channel Deep Learning Biology. My name is Dr. Vikas Bhardwaj. In this applied zoology video, today we are going to learn 1 minute please, one minute. Okay, there is someone else who is watching me. Yes, you see you are looking sleepy. Okay, just have good sleep, then again come back and watch this video. Otherwise you will not be able to understand anything. Okay, so first have good sleep, then again you can watch this. Okay, just have good sleep. Okay, so again, yes, you. Okay, so welcome to my channel Deep Learning Biology. My name is Dr. Vikas Bhardwaj, and in this applied zoology course, today I am going to teach you parasitology. What is parasite, what is host, what is predators, and different types of host. So today in applied zoology course, we are going to discuss some of the basic terms like parasitology, parasite, host, predators, different types of host. Okay, so be with me and learn. Now try to see here all the organisms. If you see all the organisms on the planet Earth, they can be divided in two categories. One, you are going to have photosynthetic organisms. One, you are going to have photosynthetic organisms. And here, in the case of photosynthetic organism, you can see the examples are algae, plants. Now, if you see another class, here you are going to have non-photosynthetic organisms. Non-photosynthetic organisms, and here what you are going to see, you are going to see competition among non-photosynthetic organisms. So most of these organisms, when they are staying together, what you are going to see, positive negative interaction for their survival. Yes, in plants also you are going to have some kind of competition, but in non-photosynthetic organism, what the necessary condition is that they must eat other organisms for their survival. So here in non-photosynthetic organism, you are going to see different types of behavior, you can say. You can see herbivory, you can see parasitism, and you can see this predatory. So today we are going to understand more in detail parasitism and predation. Now try to see here first this term herbivory. Okay, try to see here in herbivory what happens. The herbivorous organism, okay, the herbivore, generally these organisms, they depends directly on the plants. So in case of herbivory, what you are going to have, the herbivorous organisms, they depends directly on plants for their food requirement. And here hopefully you know the best examples are buffalo, cattle, sheep. All these, they depends directly on plants for their survival. Now here you must have learned in your lower classes that these herbivorous animals, generally they are going to have specialized teeth, they are going to have specialized digestive system so that they can digest the plant material. Okay, so this is about the herbivory. Now let us proceed further and discuss about parasitism. Okay, so here in the case of parasitism, okay, if you are going to see, the parasite are actually the organism which depends on another organism for their survival. So here keep in mind, the parasite, they generally live at the expense of host. So parasite, they are dependent on host for their survival. So here keep in mind, the host, okay, they actually harbor another organism. So host, they are providing all the necessary facilities so that the parasite can survive in them. Okay, so here you are going to have two organisms, one is parasite, another is the host. So here the parasite, they live at the expenses of host. Now here I just want to tell you, in this situation, what we are going to see, the host generally they are being harmed. Okay, the host generally they are being harmed, and if you see this word parasite, it derives from the Greek word. It means one who eats at the table of other. One who eats at the table of other. So here I have told you, the parasite, they live at the expense of host. Now here, keep in mind, the parasite, they are generally smaller. They are smaller and generally they reproduce at a faster rate. So here you will learn in this course about different parasite, and most of these parasite, if you are going to see by size, they are smaller and they reproduce, they multiply at a faster rate. Okay, now let's discuss more about these parasite. So here I just want to tell you, the parasite, they can be classified in two categories. One is ectoparasite, another is endoparasite. So here if you see the ectoparasite, remember they live or feeds on external surface of host. They live or feeds on external surface of the host. Okay, so they are being found on the outer, okay, body parts. Okay, so they are going to be present on the external body surface. Okay, so such type of parasite, they are known as ectoparasite. And here if you see the best examples of such type of parasite is ticks and lice. Okay, very simple. Now let us move to the endoparasite. Okay, here endo means within. Okay, so here you see ecto, it's present on outside. So ectoparasite, they are present on external surface of the host. So here you see endoparasite, they live within the body of their host. They live within the body of their host, and here you can see the examples are tapeworms. Okay, so this is one classification. Okay, parasites, they can be broadly classified as ectoparasite and endoparasite. Ectoparasite, they are present, okay, externally on the host, while the endoparasite, they are present within the host. Now here if you see in the case of parasites, okay, we have to learn these terms also, the parasitism. Okay, let's try to understand what is this parasitism. Okay, parasitism is actually the interaction between two organisms. It is actually the interaction between two organisms in which one organism lives on or inside another organism. Okay, as I have told you, there can be ectoparasite or there can be endoparasite. So here you see one organism is dependent on another organism. The another organism is host. Okay, the first one organism, the parasite, it derives benefit at the host expense. Okay, so they are dependent on the host for their survival. Now here keep in mind the study of parasites and parasitism. The study of parasites and parasitism, it is known as parasitology. So hopefully now in your mind it is clear what are parasites, what are ectoparasites, what are endoparasites, what is parasitism, and what is parasitology. Now let us move further. Okay, and let's have more discussion related to parasite. Now try to see here. Here you see parasites, generally what they are getting. They are getting nutrition, they are getting shelter, they are getting nutrition, they are getting shelter from the host. And host is providing a favorable environment to the parasite, and within the host, these parasites, okay, they can reproduce, they can multiply successfully. Now if you see the case of host, okay, what host is getting in return, okay, disease, weakness, sometimes even death. So try to see, okay, here in this case, here you are going to have positive, negative interaction. The parasites, they are being benefited, and hosts, they are being harmed. The host, what they are going to get? Disease, weakness, sometimes even death also. Now here, before going further, I just want to make you clear the difference between parasites and the predators. Parasites and the predators. Try to see here. If you see, hopefully you have clarity about parasites, and hopefully you know about predators. Okay, both parasites and predators, they actually depend on host for their survival. Now here, if you see, in the case of predators, okay, what you are going to see, generally the predators, they are going to kill their host. The predators, they are going to kill their host. Another thing here, keep in mind, the predators, they are physically larger, stronger than the host. Physically larger, stronger than the host. And the third important point, okay, generally the predators, they don't reproduce quickly. They don't reproduce quickly. Same situation you are not going to see in the case of parasites. You are not going to see the same situation. Try to see here. If you see in the case of parasites generally they are not going to kill their host. Yes, they are going to cause disease, okay, weakness, but rarely they are going to cause the death. Okay, so here first important point, parasites directly they are not going to kill their host. Yes, parasites, I have told you, they are going to be smaller, okay, they are not physically larger, stronger, okay, and hopefully you remember the parasites, they multiply at a faster rate, while the predators generally they don't reproduce quickly. Okay, so this is the difference between parasites and the predators. Now here I am going to tell you more about parasites. Okay, so here you see the parasites, they can be classified in two categories. One is obligate parasites and the another is facultative parasites. So parasites, they can be categorized in two categories. One is obligate parasites, another is facultative parasites. Now try to see here, what are these obligate parasites? Remember, keep in mind, the obligate parasites, they can't survive. They can't survive without the host. So for the survival of the parasites, okay, yes, you need host, and for obligate parasites, it is compulsory for their survival to have the host. They can't survive in absence of the host. Remember here, the parasites, they have to complete their life cycle, okay, and to complete their life cycle they need host. So in case of obligate parasites, it is necessary for them to have the host. They can't complete their life cycle, okay, in absence of host. So these obligate parasites, they depends completely on the host for their survival. So here you can see the best example is the malarial parasite Plasmodium. Okay, this is an obligate parasite. Same way, tapeworm is an obligate parasite. Now let us discuss about facultative parasites. Now here, keep in mind, these facultative parasites generally they are free living, means they can survive even in absence of host. Okay, and here keep in mind the best example I just want to give you, the brain eating amoeba. The brain eating amoeba, they are example of facultative parasites. Now let us move further. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the types of host. Okay, so here if you see the host, they can be categorized. Okay, you are going to have first category definitive or primary host. Second, you can have intermediate or secondary host. Third, you can have reservoir host. Fourth, you can have accidental host. Now I am going to explain each one. Okay, what is definitive or primary host, what is intermediate or secondary host, what is reservoir host, what is accidental host. Now try to see here. If you see the definitive, or you can say primary host. Okay, now in the primary host, the parasites, they are going to replicate and they are going to complete their sexual stages of life. So here you see the parasites, they can have sexual stages of their life, they can have asexual stages of their life. In the primary host or in the definitive host, the parasites, they are going to complete their sexual stages. Okay, so here I just want to give you one example. Keep in mind, okay, so here the female Anopheles mosquito, okay, it is actually the primary host for the Plasmodium. Why? Answer is simple. The Plasmodium, okay, it is going to have two type of life stages, okay, sexual as well as asexual, and sexual stages of Plasmodium, okay, they will be completed in the female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, yes, we will discuss when we are going to discuss the life cycle of Plasmodium. Okay, so here keep in mind, in the primary host, what you are going to see, the parasites, they replicate sexually. It's simple. Next, here, if you see the case of the secondary host, okay, if you see in the case of secondary host, or you can say intermediate host, okay, it's simple. Here the parasite undergo asexual division, asexual multiplication. Okay, so in the primary host, the parasite undergo sexual reproduction. In the secondary host or in the intermediate host, the parasite undergo asexual division. Yes, here keep in mind, this stage is also mandatory to complete the life cycle. Try to see here, generally the parasite, they are going to have sexual stages and asexual stages. Generally, these parasites, they are going to complete the sexual stages in the primary host and asexual stages in the secondary host. Okay, so here you can see the importance of secondary host. So here again, the best example, if you take the example of the parasite Plasmodium, human beings, we are the intermediate host or the secondary host. So for Plasmodium, primary host is Anopheles mosquito, okay, female Anopheles mosquito, and the secondary host are we, the human beings. Okay, hopefully it is clear what is primary host and what is secondary host. Now let us move further. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the reservoir host. Now try to see here, the reservoir host, okay, generally they are asymptomatic. In these hosts, you are not going to see the symptoms of the disease. Yes, they are going to carry the disease. So actually these are carriers of the disease. Here you are not going to see the symptoms of the disease. Here parasites, they are not going to cause harm in the host, and within the host you are not going to see the symptoms of the disease. Now try to see here, in the case of reservoir host, okay, if you see the reservoir host, generally they transmit the infection to the potential host. Okay, so reservoir host, they are going to act like a reservoir. Okay, here the parasites, they are going to multiply, and from there the infection will spread either to the primary host or to the secondary host. So generally these reservoir hosts, they transmit infection to the potential host. Here I just want to give you few examples. For example, for Ebola, bats, they are going to act like a reservoir host. Same way rodents, okay, in case if you see the of plague, okay, the rodents, they are going to act like the reservoir host. Same way dogs, they are going to act like a reservoir host for leishmania. Okay, so hopefully it is clear what is reservoir host. Let us discuss one example of the reservoir host. Okay, so here I just want to give you one more example of the reservoir host. So here if you see these virus, West Nile virus, okay, they actually cause fatal neurological disease in humans. The West Nile virus, it causes fatal neurological disease in humans. Now try to see here. Generally these virus, okay, they can also infect the birds. Okay, so if you see the infected birds, in the infected birds, you are not going to see the symptoms of the disease. Okay, so here in the case of reservoir host, hopefully I have told you the host, they are asymptomatic carriers of the disease. Hopefully you understand this. So here the infected birds, they are asymptomatic carrier of the virus, but through mosquito bite, okay, here the mosquito is Culex, okay, through the mosquito bite, okay, the Culex mosquito, it can pass this virus to the human beings. Okay, so here human beings, they are going to get the disease. Okay, so here you see from one host, the reservoir host, the disease, okay, these parasite, they transfer the disease to the another host. So hopefully now it is clear what are reservoir host. Remember, in reservoir host, generally you are not going to see the symptoms of the disease. Next here, finally we are going to discuss about accidental host. Yes, here you can see, hopefully you understand what is the term accident. Okay, so here let us discuss in detail what is accidental host. Try to see here. Sometimes the parasite, okay, you can say accidentally they can infect any host, but here you have to keep in mind the most important point. Generally these accidental hosts, they do not contribute to parasite life cycle. They do not contribute to parasite life cycle. Try to see here, I have told you the parasite, they have to complete their life cycle. Okay, and here what I am saying, the accidental hosts, generally they do not contribute to parasite life cycle. Now let us discuss this. Okay, try to see here. Okay, so here the accidental hosts, they are going to interrupt the life cycle of the parasite. Okay, so host, when it is going to make entry within the accidental host, okay, the life cycle of the parasite, it is going to be interrupted. So here the accidental host, keep in mind, they are the dead end. They are going to be the dead end for the parasite. Okay, now let us see this example. Everything will be clear, don't worry. Okay, here you take the example. Here if you see the birds and pigs, okay, generally they can be infected with this virus, Japanese encephalitis virus. Japanese encephalitis virus. So sometimes in birds and in the pigs, when they are infected this virus with this virus, Japanese encephalitis virus, what you are going to see, you are going to see a heavy load of this virus. Okay, now from birds and pigs, by the bite of mosquito, Culex mosquito, okay, the Culex mosquito, they can transmit, okay, you can say the virus to the human beings. Okay, so within the human beings, you are going to have the disease, okay, due to this virus, Japanese encephalitis virus. But here in the case of humans, load of virus which will be present in the human beings, it is generally very, very less. In birds and pigs, you are going to have heavy load of virus. So when the mosquito is going to suck blood from the birds and the pigs, yes, it can carry the virus to the human beings. But from humans, it cannot transmit the virus to other humans or to other species. So here within the human, you can see this virus, now it is going to have dead end. Okay, so it now cannot be transmitted. Okay, so the humans, we the humans are, you can say, the accidental host for Japanese encephalitis virus. From humans, you are not going to see transmission of this, okay, virus by mosquito bite. So hopefully now it is clear what is accidental host. Now hopefully through this video you have learned clearly what is parasite, what is host, what is parasitism, what is parasitology, what are obligate parasite, what are facultative parasite, what are predators, difference between parasites and predators. We have discussed different types of host, like we have discussed primary host, secondary host, reservoir host, accidental host. Okay, all these terms you have learned clearly with examples. Okay, so hopefully you have enjoyed this lecture. Thank you for watching this video. Please do like, share the video and subscribe to my channel Deep Learning Biology. Deep Learning Biology. Yes, of course, if you can support us, This is the UPI code. Okay, bye bye, take care.